Hey guys, it's Matt. Today we're going to look at the vagina at the bottom of the Washington Monument from an aerial view of the phallus, taken down, straight down, no pun intended. You have the vesica Piscis, which I'm going to call throughout most of this presentation, the Jessica Piscis, below the phallus of the Washington. But it's just a tribute to George, of course. Why would you think anything else? You'd have to be one of those people. We're going to look at the vesica Piscis. Note to long-haul truckers, this is a TPS video. I'm going to flash several images, even my old reality concentric rings diagram we'll look at for a bit, but you don't need to see anything. Keep your eyes on the road, please. Matt, I didn't know you were well-versed or have a long history in sacred geometry and mystical alchemism. I don't care one bit about going into some library that was shown in the Da Vinci Code to find some druidic text that'll tell me what all these symbols mean. I'm consistent in my approach, at least. When we come across these types of symbols, the only thing that's important to me, you may think differently, is what it means to you. What is reality trying to say to you? Your own interpretation. Not going into some research library and saying what all the mystics have told, the sacred feminine. You'll hear all that bull. It's the vagina, the sacred feminine, and why it was adopted into early Christianity. Who cares about all that crap? You have the inner knowing. Look at it. What does it mean to you? And, well, it's fun to examine what the creeps are doing with it. Because what the creeps are doing, it ultimately kind of affect us. Well, it doesn't really affect us anymore because we have their armor on it. Nothing works on us anymore, but still fun to talk about. Why did the creeps put Jessica's Pisces below the Washington Monument? So let me tell you the story of what happened and what this video is all about. And you can tell me in the comments if there's anything to this or it's completely horseshit. Okay, you tell me in the comments. This is not a traditional interpretation of the Jessica Piscis. I was looking at the vesica Piscis the other day, as we all do, several times an hour, and it kind of hit me. It looks like, you know when you have a filter, a round filter lens swapping in front of another lens? Like I remember being at the eye doctor and you're looking through something. They're swapping these lenses in front of your eyes. Like, which one looks good, one or two? The first one or the second one? I'm like, well, they both look blurry as hell. Just answer the question. I don't know, like swapping of lenses. The vesica Piscis, the outer circumference of one circle is meeting or impinging into the center of the other circle. Anyway, where am I going with this? Let me just out with it. I don't know why I started thinking about this, but one of the most interesting topics of all time was, and I have no idea what this means, but it's just fascinating to me because there's something to it. When we heard different channels 7, 8 years ago, start talking about a reality overlay. Now, I don't know what that means, but in some way, it's happening. I don't know what that means. But to me, I looked at the vesica Piscis and I'm like, is this the modern version of what it means to creeps? One circle of reality, and I thought about my concentric rings diagram that we'll look at. One reality is kind of like, moving. It's basically the eclipse also. One reality moving over the other. And I don't know what reality overlay means, but this is not the reality this is not the reality that existed in 1970, 1980. I mean, I can't really break it down in a white paper for you, but it's not just people have changed a bit. That's one aspect. It's more than that. So when one circle moves into the other circle, or they both move into each other, however you want to interpret it, and the outer circumference of one circle meets or hits the middle of the other, and it's happening to both at the same time, what's left, the vesica Piscis middle section, which is part of, people put this on the back of their car and call it the Jesus fish. I mean, it's the eye. What you're left with is the eye. Pausing for a second to remind you once again, or to speak to anybody that's new that may ask me, Matt, what is your resume or CV, whatever that is, in discussing such matters? As I said, I was very, very honest about these things. I don't have none. I don't think real people like you and me need symbols and gematria. We don't need these things to succeed on our life journey. It seems like certain people do. The creeps do. Oh, they love their symbols. They put the damn Jessica's Pisces, whatever, underneath Jessica's, you know what, underneath the phallus of the Washington Monument. They love their symbols and their gematria. They don't do anything unless Jupiter's in a certain position and their astrology met. Don't you think we need those things? I don't think we need any of that horse shit as real people, this type of incarnation, to do what we're supposed to do in life. So if we're ever going to take the time to look at these symbols as we're looking at the Jessica's Pisces now, I think the only thing that matters is, what is reality telling us now? What does it mean to us at this moment in history? It's kind of similar to Vanessa VA's retrocausality language. You can listen to a song and say, this is the message or the spiritual message I'm getting from it. And the writer or the record company or the producer of the album would have no idea what you're talking about. They would say, I wrote the song that makes all the truthers sing. The Barry Manilow, or whoever that son of a beach, would say, I wrote it. I'm going to tell you what it means. You can't tell me what it means. I mean, no. You wrote it for me. There's a message in there, a spiritual message that you don't even have to know about as the writer. You wrote the songs that make the whole. Was that Neil Diamond or Barry Manilow? I can't tell the damn difference between them. We can get a message where even the writer doesn't mean to put it out. Or same with these symbols. Okay, I'll do it. Let's do the good little truth thing and go into the text and find out, and I'll read you some things about what the Vesica Pisces means. And, well, if that's out there, the interpretation didn't originally come from creeps? You think it was just pure interpretation of Vesica Pisces from your Druidic ancestors 3,000 or 4,000 years ago? To me, what's out there on public sources or Wikipedia or whatever is floating around the internet in terms of the proper interpretation of the Vesica Pisces is originally from creeps. So, okay, there could be a lot of truth in it, but it's not that, Matt, you're not just not willing to put the time in. No, it's a waste to put the time in. We know what we know about reality. 2023, we should have learned this on the big day, the 2001 job application. Going out and trying to research anything is pointless. It's all that matters is turn your inner knowing up to 10, and what is it reality telling you? What is the symbol saying to you? It doesn't matter if there's not one text anywhere in the world that doesn't match up with your own personal interpretation. I'm pretty set in my ways in this regard. I don't think there are any answers out there. I think the entire world is a crafted trick of some kind or a lie. To go into its lie to find out what you think you need to get whatever you need from it. We're not going to do it anymore. But that doesn't mean that these symbols don't carry tremendous meaning regarding reality itself, or that these certain numbers don't carry an underlying power in terms of how this reality operates. It doesn't mean that astrology, in some sense, isn't real. I think all of these things are real. I'm saying I might be interested in looking at it and seeing what my inner tuning fork will tell me about it, but I'm not interested in going and seeing what somebody said it is, or some interpretation from some book. Okay, if you don't know what I mean, or I'm just kind of all over the place, let me tell you what I'm supposed to tell you. See, about the Vesica Pisces. Let me go read some things. This is what I'm supposed to tell you. And I'm not supposed to stray, even though there is, of course, slight variations. You look at 10 different sources for Vesica Pisces. As usual, 10 slightly different interpretations, just like as above, so below. Anybody comes forth and says, this is exactly what it means, they don't know what they're talking about, because there's many more interpretations of that than there are even of the Vesica Pisces. There's always slight differences. But let me go tell you what I'm supposed to tell you. We'll start here. All right, this one's actually pretty interesting. The Vesica Pisces is the sacred geometric design of creation. It's a symbol of the divine feminine. Oh, Robert Langdon showing up again. Exudes the potent mystery of two wholes coming together in divine union to create birth and a new life, or a new reality if you're creeps. The Vesica Pisces is a gateway between the worlds. It represents the etheric field, the bridge between heaven and earth. All things must pass through the etheric field and over the bridge between one world to the other in order to be. It sustains all things in creation. Okay, that's awfully nice. Well put, well presented. But let's just say that's actually very close to even what the creeps see in the Vesica Pisces. Let's just say that that's like accurate. I don't know. And although, again, there's always there's different interpretations wherever you look. What can you do with that? What can I do with that? Let's say I memorize that. Like, what does that do for me? Okay, why is that so important? Why are these symbols so important to, say, the creeps or different classes of individuals, where they put the thing underneath the Washington Monument? Like, this is what's so fascinating to me. What does that do for them? It's not just pretty pictures, like just a casual conversation. We're going to erect this thing for George, called, yeah, that's what it's all about, called the Washington Monument. What should we put below it for an aerial shot? Was it even, the damn thing was probably erected, well, they probably had hot air balloons. Somebody could fly over it, even if they couldn't envision the airplane. I don't know when the thing was erected, no pun intended. What should we put below it? I don't know. Should we check with Sam on that? You decide. Throw the Vesica Piscis under it. Yeah, it looks good. Is that all it is to them? No, it has tremendous meaning. What power do they derive from that? It is fascinating. We'll never know. I don't want to really know. I don't want to get too close to the answer on that. But see, I'm convinced of this. A real person, we don't need that horse shit. We don't need symbols and numbers, and we don't need that stuff. Whatever they're trying to do with that, like, why? Creeps, Henry, if you're listening, Henry Kissinger, what do you get out of these presentations? And it's weird, man. Your owls and all this stuff. Like, real people, don't you just sense we don't need that horse shit? If you go off to research the Vesica Piscis for months as a good little truther should, guess what happens? Oh, no. Reality starts to play its same game with us. The same game it almost always plays with us. Yeah. Insert Bill's poster here. I'm not sure I will. You've seen it, but the arcade game Rabbit Holes. That's what it starts playing, that game with us. You start looking into the pagan origins of the Vesica Piscis, and the sacred feminine pops up, whatever that means. But then, there's roots to early Christianity. So, oh no, which one? What is it? Why did early Christian iconography, whatever that means, adopt the Vesica Piscis? It evolved into the Jesus fish Pisces, right? The Jesus fish Pisces, but then it has the pagan roots. And why, when you go out to do some research, isn't it almost always associated or immediately associated with the eclipse? Now, again, I haven't spent a whole lot of time and hours researching. You know what I think of researching, going out into this reality trick and doing research is pointless, but I've never seen it associated with the eclipse when it is the eclipse. It's one circle moving over the other, but I don't know. Look, maybe it is more closely associated with the eclipse, and I'm just not aware of it. Before getting back to what I floated out, 10 minutes ago, I need to stay a little bit more on point. Just wanted to show you, again, how the reality plays rabbit holes and will take you down different paths. And again, you know what I'm going to say, right? No real world could keep doing this over and over again, thousands of times. Reality's become a joke, in my opinion. It's fun. It really is fun to live it. The opposite of the people that say, Matt, you're the ultimate case of nihilism. I have no idea. And then the person actually commented back to me when and they said I misquoted them. Like, I'm supposed to, out of the thousands of comments I get weekly, I'm supposed to remember exactly how they posited, how they're relating my position to nihilism. My position is the opposite of nihilism. This reality is absolutely fascinating to me. I love the natural world and everything about it. I loathe and can't stand the world of men or women. What they've done to society and culture is disgusting to me. It is a scourge. I don't even know if that's a word. I just made it up. The natural world is fascinating, but its society and culture grows out like the nothing in the never-ending story. It just encompasses and engrosses more and more. And is there anywhere, I'll do a whole video sometime. I need to do a video on this. I've thought about this for the past few weeks. Is there any place in the world one can go to be left alone? I don't think that exists. Maybe if you want to go in the middle of war-torn Yemen and you want to put up with a lot of other shit, maybe, but then you have the Saudis coming in with their F-15s they rent from the United States to drop bombs in the Saudi Arabian Yemen war. It just goes on. It's the war that never ends. It goes on and on. It's a Mandela effect because now it's the song that doesn't end. That doesn't make any sense to many people. 100% anchor effect. It's always the song that never ends. Anyway, so you go, they'll generally leave you alone. Fromers tried to warn you if you want to move to Yemen, but then you got Saudi planes overhead. Is there anywhere in this world to go where a man or woman can just be left alone. I don't know. The Philippines, there's like 1,000 outlying islands. If you want to be engulfed with mosquitoes, you can make your way out to one of those. They'll leave you alone. But then you got other problems. Sorry, off point again. I look at the Vesica Piscis. To me, what does it mean to creeps? Why is it so important to creeps at this moment in history? I see one reality moving over another. I see that old term that popped up that I don't understand, one of the most fascinating concepts. I've listened to videos about it. I don't know what reality overlay means, but in some way it's happening. I don't think we'll ever truly understand it. The Mandela effect could be a symptom or side effect of a reality overlay. But the Vesica Piscis, it's a reality moving on top of another one. And when it happens, when one circle slides to a certain distance into the other circle and their circumferences touch the center of each, it creates the Jesus fish to a degree, but it creates the eye. And again, the eye isn't evil. It's just because Bono keeps popping up, covering eyes and shit. No symbol is evil. No number is evil. It's all what they do with it versus what you could do with it. To me, the eye, it's very interesting, created by the Vesica Piscis. I mean, one reality tries to overlay on another, but if you can see, those that can see through it, as we can, we'll be able to, overcome it. Again, it's whatever it means to you. I'm just, my basic theme is always look at something and interpret what it means to you, and don't go research anything. I mean, that's kind of where we are at this point. The research is complete nonsense. And if you want to go research it, just put up Bill's poster or rabbit holes. Just play the video game, because that's what reality will serve you. If you go do the research on, go find all this stuff on the sacred feminine. What does that even mean? I mean, how would that even be? Why would I even care to understand what that means? What does that do for me as I live out a very short life, which is just like that? And we're already dead from the perspective of anything or anyone outside of here. We're already dead. I mean, so why do I need to understand what Robert Langdon means or by the sacred feminine who cares? What does that do for a real person? Nothing. It's like a truth or throw. David, it's not David Thoreau, Matt. It's David Thoreau, you ignorant son of a beach. I went off to the woods to get drunk deliberately. I went off into the truther rabbit hole video game to research for 10 years the sacred feminine, and I really understand the sacred feminine and what that means and what Robert Langdon was referring to in the Da Vinci Code. And okay, that's wonderful. You spent 10 years with David Thoreau. What is it? What did that do for you? Where are you? You're now a winner? You can just pass through the archonic beings and just get to wherever you need to be after death. What did it do for you spiritually? Squat. The 9th level of Metroid. Squat. It did nothing. Unless I'm missing something. Matt, you don't understand how important it is to research and understand the sacred feminine. I'm not just picking on the sacred feminine or whatever. Any of these esoteric or occult research topics, after you're done for 10 years, you say, well, what did that do for me? Why did I do it? Am I a winner now? What did that do for me in my life? And this life journey for our spiritual whole? Squat. Absolutely. Caught my first tube today. Squat. You don't think Keanu Reeves was dropping a Vesica Piscis when he said to, was it Captain Harp of the FBI in Point Break, when he said, I caught my first tube today. Was he dropping a Vesica Piscis the way Bill Clinton dropped an ISIS? Bill Clinton dropped an ISIS. It depends on what your definition of is, Bill said when talking about Monica and his impeachment deposition. He dropped an ISIS, no doubt about it. That's why whenever you say, I can say it close together, is, because I'm just repeating what Bill Clinton says. I'm not giving this reality any power by dropping an ISIS. If you say what is, you have to pause for at least 3 seconds. You can't put the IS right next to the IS, or this reality, the dark reality, will draw power from you dropping an ISIS. Somebody right now listening to this, I've put almost 20 minutes into listening to this person. This presenter's a madman. That scene in Braveheart. You're a madman. Come to the right place then. You come to the right place then. Book us into the room. I'm not crazy just yet. All right? Trust me. It's okay. You'll know when I completely lose it. So let's switch gears and go back to the concentric rings reality diagram presented, I don't know, was it 4 or 5 years ago now perhaps? And we use Wayne's upgraded version as well. We'll go back and forth between both of them. And it's amazing that what I presented in that concentric rings reality diagram is basically holding, and it's becoming almost more true as the outer reality, the screen reality, becomes more and more ridiculous, more and more insane. It's the same principle as the ship of fools, sailing farther and farther away from you as you've jumped off, and it continues down its river of insanity. So one of the key points is the outer ring or screen, remember, always tries to extend a hand in towards you, extend its tentacles in towards your heart-based reality bubble center. As you stand where you are now, or you look around and the tree's still in your backyard and your cat's still in your lap, and what's here is still very real. I don't see any difference in my immediate reality, say my heart-centered reality bubble, that I think only goes out maybe 10 feet or 5 feet in all directions around me. So whatever's in it, if I'm standing with my feet in the grass, that's basically what I remember from 1975 or 1985. In terms of the heart-centered reality, nothing's much changed. Touch tree bark, it's what you remember. It's the outer ring of reality, the impinger, the infringer, the thing that's always trying to get up in your business. That's what's changing. That's what people have merged with on the ship of fools. That's what's breaking down. And it's changing, literally it's changing monthly. I would say this is not an exaggeration. Once a month or so, I go make fun of headlines, and I typically go to CNN.com to do that. I'm saying I can see a difference almost month to month with the absurdity and ridiculousness of the headlines. In 1 month, there's things that I couldn't even imagine it being presented. It's so absurd that just 6 months before, I'm like, there's no way. That now I expect it to get worse and worse, and maybe in some way because of that, I'm facilitating it. But the outer screen, what's trying to reach into your heart center and shake hands with you, that's what's melting down. That's what is the ship of fools is reaching in towards you and saying, take my ticket, board my ship. The people around you, or like my friend Tony, is reaching out and shaking hands with the outer rings of reality, or the not milk, or the screen, which means they're letting it in to their heart center, which is how, in my opinion, the outer reality, or the not milk, it can't affect reality itself. It needs generator beings to do that. It needs to offer its ticket, and for people like my friend Tony to gladly take its ticket and then to board the ship of fools. Just as Jack and Maurizio boarded the Titanic in the opening scenes of the movie with just seconds to spare. And I'm sorry to ruin the movie for you, but who were the two jackasses that were playing a card game? Remember, they had the tickets to Titanic. Their two friends were in the damn stateroom down with the rats. Remember? Those two jackasses, were they from Norway, Sweden, or Denmark? There's no difference between the countries to an American. They're the dumbasses playing a hand of cards when they had the tickets. Okay, Jack had to run to get on, and Maurizio, the most, let's say, ethnically, overly stereotypical, offensive character of all time. I'm not going to do it because my video would be blocked, but I like to do that accent. Every Italian American should still be upset at James Cameron. I could see they had to run because they didn't even expect to go on no Titanic, but those other two sons of bitches, they had the ticket. And they're playing cards right up to the last second before it left. Serves them right for losing the damn card game. One guy punched the other guy. But in terms of the reality diagram, again, it has to reach down and offer its hand. And a real person has to say, oh, hi, Not Milk. Oh, you want to shake my hand, Not Milk? Oh, and reach up and shake hands. The real person has to engage with it. It can't accomplish anything on its own. We know this by now. And it shifts reality slowly and slowly into a place where it wants to be. And right now, at least at this moment in time, that's how I interpret the Vesica Piscis. One reality sliding over the other. And as it slides over, everybody's fooled that this new one, this new filter at the eye doctor is really what the world should be. People like my friend Tony are fooled. This, to me, is absolutely screams out as one of the main reasons for stalled century. And somebody recently sent me a link to a headline that Vanna White, who is, I don't know if they have this damn Wheel of Fortune in your hood in Sydney or Melbourne or any other place around the world, in your Belfast or whatever. We have this thing here called Wheel of Fortune, where this Vanna White has been turning letters on the damn game show for, I don't know, is it pushing 45 years? She's pushing 70, I think. It's just forever. It's forever. But she signed on for more years. Wait, what? And I think in some way, Pat Sajak, whatever she does, he's like bound per the pentagram to do whatever she does. Maybe I can't imagine there being a new Pat Sajak. It's like he probably says, Vanna, our original deal with the devil was I have to, how I bound myself to this pentagram. If you sign on for more years, I have to as well. And now you're screwing me, Vanna. I want to go off and sit on a beach somewhere. And Vanna, in her demonic voice, her voice that she doesn't ever present on air on the game show, says, we're doing more years, Pat. I don't know, but there's something weird going on. The point of Stalled Century is, in my opinion, is very simple. It's to remind the world, in a very friendly, not milk way, that nothing's changed. This is the old world that you know and love. Look at your television. Vanna White still turning letters on Wheel of Fortune. And we know, separate issue, but there's a whole occult and esoteric meaning of why they present that game show for pushing 50 years. I want to buy a vow and Wheel of Fortune. And it's the same way, Jeopardy, you have to phrase it in the form of a question. All that is so much creepiness going on with why Jeopardy, at least in the United States, has always been paired with Wheel of Fortune. And yeah, that would be insane to anybody stumbling upon this video. We know it to be true. Search your feelings. You know it to be true. Why Jeopardy has always been paired with Wheel of Fortune. We've talked about that in the past. Forget that. What I was going to say is, the Stalled Century is just there to remind you that the old world is still here while they fundamentally transform every bit as much as they can, even metaphysically, if that makes any sense, of reality. Reality itself is changing. And the Stalled Century is there to remind you that, no, it's the same world. And don't listen to those crazy people called conspiracy people. We told you to not listen to their nonsense. Matt, there is no conspiracy. No, Tony, there's no conspiracy. It's just, if you want to honor George Washington, it's not about the city of Washington Monument. It's to honor George Washington. That's the official narrative on it. Well, why wouldn't you put up an Egyptian obelisk, which only has one interpretation? The phallus. The what? The phallus. The dick. There's only one interpretation. So, that by itself, we should be able to blue screen almost anybody out. So to honor George Washington, they erect an Egyptian obelisk, which only has one interpretation, which is the phallus or the penis. And underneath it, from an aerial view, they erect the vesica Piscis, which in many interpretations, or to the creeps probably, is the sacred feminine, whatever that bullshit means, and the vagina. So you have the you-know-what into the you-know-what. And I guess we're just one of those people. To my friend Tony, that seems to be a completely normal way to honor George Washington. I had to take a few minutes and go look it up, and it is true. Vanna White has not only put 2 more years under her contract, spinning letters or whatever she does out there through 2026, she's negotiated a pay raise, it said. Her first in 18 years, it said. Shouldn't she be on strike with the damn SAG, whatever those people are, the Actors Guild or the writers? Shouldn't she be with those sons of bitches on strike? Maybe she is. I don't even know. I don't watch these shows. But it did say, incredibly, that Pat Sajak is retiring. And they're going to bring in Ryan Seacrest. Ugh! Hope you didn't just toss your lunch. Ryan Seacrest is going to come in to do Wheel of Fortune, that not milk aluminum Ducati puppet son of a beach. They said, well, people will tune in for a few days to see what Ryan Seacrest looks like in that spot where the Crypt Keeper was Pat Sajak for so many decades. But I was wrong. They're not tied together with the pentagram. He somehow has been able to break his deal with the chief commander. He's going to be able to sit on a beach for, maybe he won't. You'll see him. Maybe he'll pop up again somewhere. Remember our theory, none of these people can ever truly go away. See, Johnny Carson was the last one where he literally just went away. He's like, I'm going to be by myself for 10 years. Everything else, it's like a deal with Bob Dylan's chief commander. They have to keep popping up. I would be surprised if Pat Sajak didn't pop up somewhere else, like Jay Leno keeps popping up doing these 2-bit game shows and shit. We'll see. But at least, I was wrong. They're not at least tied together in the same pentagram. So to wrap this up, or in summary, in the concentric reality diagram, which is still holding true today, the outer ring or the knot milk needs to reach in an extended invitation into people's personal heart-centered reality bubbles, and they gladly reach up and shake hands with its tentacles. Now, this changes reality itself. I relate this concept to at least what I see in the Vesica Piscis, one reality sliding over another. And as the one circle covers the other completely, and you lose that point that we focus on in the Vesica Piscis, lose the fish, you also lose the eye. Right? If one reality is successful in covering the other, or one circle covers the other, the eye then goes away, doesn't it? Who knows? My interpretation is as valid as any stupid research that I'm going to do that's going to try to get me to play the video game rabbit holes to research the sacred feminine. I'll tell you what, I was always looking for the sacred feminine in the girls and women that I used to date. Never found it. Never found it. In fact, usually it was just the opposite. I never found the girls I dated. There was no sacred feminine. It was some sort of demon came out very shortly into the relationship. I was hoping to find the sacred feminine. Sacred feminine, and then in the demon voice, she said, "When I was living in L.A., take me to the Viper Room." I had to take her to the, where River Phoenix died, to the Viper Room. This is not a joke. I wasn't making a lot of money the first year they deposited me in LA. I was barely getting by. Okay, it was better when I got to San Francisco in '99. But is this the Viper Room? I had spent $70 before taking my first sip of alcohol. It was $20 cover for me, $20 cover for her. That's $40. Whatever her martini drink was like, I don't know, it was close to $20 or something. That's almost $60. And then I had a beer and then a tip. And if you don't tip them at least $5 for every drink, the bartender looks at you like they're going to throw your ass out. I've actually had like literally LA obnoxious bartenders. Like if you just give them $1 for your beer, they look at you like they're going to throw you out. Like you didn't give them enough. I'm a bartender and I deserve to make $250,000 a year. I'll throw your ass out. And she says, take me to the Viper. There was no sacred feminine. I'm still looking for that. But I doubt I'll have another date again. Thank you for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.